Greetings, my dearest annotation clickers, and those interested enough to find this video through some different medium. My name is Mike, aka Shyguy5ays, and I'm reporting to you live from the past in my hole-in-the-wall of a room. It is here where I have so far spent the first half of my summer, armed with nothing more than dual monitors, a strong sense of directionlessness, and way too much free time in my hands. I have repeatedly done the same thing that you have perhaps joined me in doing every single day now. Masturbate. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not about to launch my channel concept around fapping because, well, quite frankly, I don't think I have it in me. Literally. What I've really been up to, though, and what many of you and I have always done for years is, well, play a shitload of video games. Be they the MMOs we have come to create our second lives in, the games on our phones we either play in class or bring with us to the shitter, or the new console games that consume every fiber of our being for the next week until they are beat on hard. My point being is that games and gaming can be a significant part of a person's life, and it is not one that can be easily brushed off with the changing circumstances of life. For years, especially since Matt and I have started YouTube, I've been immersed in gaming communities, especially the RuneScape community. And with all the script writing, idea floating, and executing, and in some cases even damage control I've personally attended to for So Wrecked, I've unknowingly developed my own passion and calling for this stuff. So, as fun and educational as it's been working with Matt on just the So Wrecked persona, I'm finally ready to branch out on my own. And guys, just by managing to upload this first video, I can tell you that I am psyched and filled with more motivation than ever before to continue making more of them. And I can also tell you that I'm going to try my hardest to make sure that they're as awesome as they can really possibly be. Because I'm of the belief that if someone offers me the respect to click on a video of mine, they deserve to walk away from it entertained or at least satisfied in some way. So, I again am humbled and psyched by your decision to go ahead and click on this video. And if you haven't been entertained already, I'm going to see if I can try and do that now. I've been playing two main games really this summer, League of Legends and World of Warcraft, with the third game being played a little bit indirectly through my brother. RuneScape, of course, I'm sure you could have guessed. And to be honest, I don't really plan on making many videos for it going forward, but I am going to make one last kind of tribute to it right now. So, this is going to be a retelling of the two most significant memories I've had in RuneScape. Number 2, the Gunther the Brave story. First off, I should probably make one thing clear. At the start of our RuneScape career, through probably the first year my brother and I played, we were absolute noobs. About 1 month into playing, we were still at the stage where Matt would only watch me play and not actually have an account of his own yet. I'm level 20 or so at Barbarian Village, equipped in an iron chain body, iron med helm, myth kite, a steel long, and leather boots. Killing barbarians is my complete source of income, and the grand total and entirety of my bank's worth was in my inventory, 2,000 GP. Surviving off the beers and meat spawns on the main table in the longhouse, I had a pretty good racket going. I'd spend about a full minute killing a barbarian or two, go pick up the beer and meat, eat them, and wait for the remainder of my health to regen before killing another one or two. So yeah, it was kind of a slow way to level, but more important than leveling to me was the acquisition of gold. All of my hard work in making gold was for a reason though. Ever since I had first laid eyes on it on the Varrock sword shop, everything I did was in an effort to acquire what I had perceived to be the best weapon in the game at the time, the adamant longsword. So again, there I was at the Barbarian Village, more than halfway to my monetary goal, when finally, I saw him, the boss, the golden ticket, the man who was going to make me rich. I looked at Gunther the Brave like he was an abandoned wallet filled with 20s and 100s, begging to be picked up and spent by the undeserving 10-year-old that I was. I knew though, through my radical greed and blind ambition to kill this motherfucker, that he was simply too high of a level. The other barbarians were level 17 and I could barely kill one or two of them without getting to dangerously low health. But then Matt said it. Hey Mike, why don't you just regen to full and then pick up the beer and meat, and save them for if you get to low health during the fight with Gunther himself? He played upon the greed and idiocracy in my heart and gave me perhaps the falsest sense of security my little brain could latch onto. So fast forward to the fight. I'm down to about 5 HP, no food left, tears of anguish beginning to swell in my eyes as I realized I would die in this fight. Suddenly though, an idea overtook me. If I disappear, he won't be able to finish me off. And how does one disappear in RuneScape? They log out. And I X'd out the window in a flash, sighing in great relief that I had dodged the bullet. Upon logging in though, and seeing that I was dead in Lumbridge, I instantly began to break down. I ran around my house in a fit of painful anger and depression, tearing down pictures off the wall, flailing my arms, and pretty much mimicking everything this guy did except rip off my clothes in a flash and then stick a remote up my ass. When I finally calmed down, Matt agreed to hand farm all the gold back on my account as payment for having made such a terrible suggestion to kill Gunther the Brave. But through the fun he had just sitting there in Barbarian Village killing NPCs in his first ever MMO, he decided to make an account of his own, and thus began his RuneScape career. Number 1. And I think I saved the best story for last here, or at least the one that's most memorable to me. This is the mime story. So, sometime within my first year of playing RuneScape, remember during those ridiculously newbie days, I was approached by a level 126 in full mime attire. I stood there in awe for a second, my full Addy and Rune Longsword, amazed that a player could even be that high of a level. It was completely friendly at first. He waved, bowed, and even danced for me. I started to speak to him and ask him general noob questions like how he got to that high of a level and how he makes his money, but he just did the think emote and stood there. I was beginning to get a bit bored with his lack of response, so I thanked him for his time and started to walk off. It became apparent to me, though, that this guy was following me for some reason. I thought perhaps it was just so he could get a free lift to Varrock, but when I started heading to the Varrock sewers to kill some rats, and he was still with me, I knew something had to be up. I turned down my run and started heading for the Alcarid Gate in an effort to lose him. When I ran out of run and he was still right behind me, I stopped and asked him what he wanted. Why was he doing this? He said nothing and just waved. It was at this point that I started to panic. Would I ever lose this guy? Will he be with me every step of my RuneScape career? What if he even shows up in my dreams? When I finally got to the Alcarid Gate, I tried to juke him there, but it was to no avail. He premeditated when I would actually go through the gate and not just talk to the guards. Every time I did get in, he would follow right behind me and catch up. Eventually, I needed to find out how he was never out of run, and so I looked his character up on the high scores. 95 agility. I remember staring at my screen in awe as I tabbed back into the game and saw him just standing there, waving and laughing at me as if he knew I just looked him up and realized his agility level. I was never going to lose him, period. He had infinite run compared to me, and my magic level wasn't even 25 to use teleports, and teletabs weren't in the game yet. So I did the only thing I could. Log out. I hopped to a different world, and as soon as I logged in, I started sprinting to the gate. I made it through and walked up to Varrock from the other way in an attempt to be secretive. Made it all the way to Varrock, and there was no sign of the mime. For the first time in what had to be at least an hour, I had my first sigh of relief. Back to what I was planning on doing in the first place, I thought. Going to kill some rats in the sewers to get some XP. I started attacking the first one and then repositioned my camera. There that motherfucker stood. I was still so newbie at the time. I had no idea how the friends list worked, what private chat meant, and I had no conception of the ability to hide your world from people who weren't your friends. I started to really freak out in-game and in real life, and I may have even begun to cry. I started to just run, all throughout RuneScape, hoping this guy would eventually leave me alone or get bored trying to chase me down. I took the boat to Karamja, ran to Brimhaven Dock, and took the boat to Artie, and ran as far north as I could. Running and running, this time with energy potions, all the way to the top of the lighthouse north of Barbarian Assault. We climbed the ladders all the way to the top of that lighthouse. Cornered, and quite frankly at this point, scared, I pleaded with the mime one final time. What do you want from me to leave me alone? Just say what you need to say so we can move on with our lives. Hi! climbed down the ladders and ran off into the distance, never to be seen again. So guys, those are the type of things that happen to me in my gaming ventures. I figure that if I play games all day, I may as well document interesting or humorous instances, or even funny realizations that I have about these games that I play. I do hope you enjoyed this first video. I can tell you that it's nothing compared to what I have planned, so if you'd like to see some more out of me, I'd encourage you to hit that subscribe button. The next video is going to be League of Legends related, and even if you don't really play the game, I think you'll get an enjoyment out of it regardless. It'll be presented in a way that's easy to understand. It's not going to be gameplay related, but I don't want to reveal too much about it because it's kind of a surprise. So that's all I got for now. Until next time, peace out, guys.